Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hood, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion. Yo, host the Hunt, welcome back to the Baseball Hood too, and hopefully you like this video. And I think it's going to be a fun video, but you let me know in the comment section. The Atlanta Braves are playing so poorly that it's affecting everything surrounding the club. Now we know the Mets got swept there in Atlanta. Mets do not historically play well in Atlanta. This goes back even into the 80s, where they've had terrible times there. So this is sort of a long-standing issue with this franchise with the Mets. So anybody coming in here, the Mets not play. But I would mention last year the Mets won a big game, one of the biggest games they've ever won, probably the biggest game they ever won against the Braves, and they needed it. But the Braves and their fans and the people that cover the ball club, total meltdown. And this is pretty funny, okay? The Braves people that cover the team do not ask questions. They don't like, when the team doesn't play well, they don't like say, what's going on here? And they sort of ignore weird things. Like 2 years ago, you had the Braves out homer the next team, the Dodgers, by 60 home runs, which I always thought was kind of strange. And the Braves always seem to make all the right decisions, which is whatever, but they don't ask questions. And obviously, the Braves broadcasters are homers, stone cold homers, and they always were. And the people that cover the team are homers too. Let me read you from off announcing. And then, of course, this one media guy had a complete total meltdown, complaining about the fans. And we'll get into the fans too, by the way. Some of the worst comments I ever got on this channel or on my other channels had been from Braves fans. They are the most miserable group of individuals online in terms of a fan base, to be honest with you. Here's the headline from Awful Announcing. Braves beat writer calls out two-faced hypocrites and fan base. When they're losing, you say we don't ask tough questions. When they're winning, you say we're negative, we upset them. I mean, this is how it went. When it comes to the 2025 MLB season, there may not be a more disappointing team than the Atlanta Braves. That's true. It makes me happy. Despite entering the year as the betting favorite to win the National League East, the Braves currently lay claim to a 39-50 record, having lost 9 of their last 11 games, including each of their last 4. So the Braves have played terrible. Other than those 4 games against the 4 games against the Mets, or 3 games against the Mets in Atlanta, they played terribly. Suffice it to say, frustration in Atlanta has been hard to find this season, and following a 9-6 loss to the Baltimore Orioles on Sunday, the Athletics' David O'Brien, he covers the club, took to X to voice his own dissatisfaction with the way some of his coverage has been consumed and the team's underwhelming season. So let me just get into this momentarily. Here's from David O'Brien. And this is funny. This goes on and on and on. This is 7 pieces to this. So many two-faced hypocrites here, I guess, on X. Losing brings out the worst of you. When they're losing, you say we don't ask tough questions. When they're winning, you say we're negative. If we upset them, and fanboys quickly jump to the side of any player whatsoever who criticizes a reporter. Now, if you are a Mets fan, you watched SNY on Monday, Andy Martino was complaining about the fans on X. He said, I don't want to talk about the website that, he doesn't want to interact with anybody on there. That's a little Andy Martino. So some media people don't like interacting with fans. And if you ever and I noticed with X, the ones that put out the nastiest comments are usually people that don't put their face, they have a fake account. You just ignore them and you block them. That's my sort of word of advice. Anybody on X, if somebody's writing to you, they don't have a face, block them. They have a cartoon character, block them. If they put a picture of an athlete, block them. All during the off-season, when I said the luxury tax was a factor, whether or not AA, I guess that's the general manager, says so, that I wouldn't believe they would go over the threshold unless they actually did. Many here said it's not a factor. AA said so. They repeated his reasons about why it wasn't a factor. If I want players to like me, I'd avoid writing all of the positive negative stats I've written here virtually every day this season. I wouldn't say they lack the fiery leadership that Wash brought. This is, I guess, Ron Washington, and I guess he's sick. I hope he's feeling better. And previous players had. But some of you don't or won't grasp that, because all you think will prove that reporters aren't carrying water for teams if they ask questions repeatedly in pressers so you can see the show, even if the answer given is really what you want to hear. You just have us ask it again to piss off the person for the show. Now, I would mention, this is Atlanta. This guy's having a meltdown based off the soft questions that they ask Brian Snickard in these press conferences after the game. Again, this is a media guy from Atlanta, which is not a great baseball town or sports town for that matter. And you either aren't smart enough, this gets really nasty, and you either aren't smart enough or mature enough to see it's not wanting people to be your friends, it's wanting to communicate with them professionally over a 162-game season for 7 months rather than piss off someone for a soundbite. You ask a question, why did you take him out after 6 innings? Why did you bring it back out for the ninth? Will payroll increase? And you get the answer. But if the answer is not honest or you don't like it, you don't ask them a couple more times as if interrogating them. That's true. And they are around these people all the time. So they know how they respond, whether it's something they want to talk about. You know? They are not required to answer our questions honestly or at all. If we don't like or believe the answers, we can and should write that or question it. But the entitled era of social media has created a class of people who think these guys are beholden to you or us. They are not. I want to point something out to David O'Brien. The fans are the customers. They are beholden to them. They're not beholden to you. Okay, you're media scum. But the fans are the customers. And the fans are spending a lot of money to travel to the ballpark, buy a ticket, buy very expensive food, get very expensive souvenirs. I would mention the souvenirs at Citi Field aren't that bad. Yeah. Some of these things I've gotten back here behind me are from Citi Field. The Pete Alonso banner, the numbers here. I got, I don't know what this thing is, but I have a lot of stuff here. It's fairly inexpensive at Citi Field. I don't know how it is at other places, but you're a customer. So the players and the ownership and the management are all beholden to the fans because they're the customer. See, you guys are supposed to sort of, now I will say this, I said this in other videos. The media works for the teams, to be honest with you, okay? These people would not be covering the teams if they were causing problems for these teams. So in an indirect way, they're working for them, and they carry the message of the team. But this, like I said, the media scum, they can go and do other things in the media, and you wouldn't even notice that they're gone. This David O'Brien guy, I don't know who he is. You could replace him with somebody else, some other scum person, But again, this last part, now that I read it, bothers me. Let me read it again. They're not required to answer our questions honestly or at all. We don't like or believe the answers. We can and should write that or question it. But the entitled era of social media has created a class of people who think these guys are beholden to you or us. They're not. They are. They are, because you spend money. Also, you spend a lot of time online talking about this stuff and doing videos like here. I don't feel like the Mets are beholden to me. I could do these videos and not. You know what I'm saying? As a Mets fan. But I will call the club out if I think the club is playing poorly. That's a different thing. But when you spend a lot of time, you buy their products, you sit in the ballpark. And I would mention about the Braves fans, a couple of things. Up until about 4 years ago, they didn't really go to the ballpark. But they go to the ballpark now, for the most part. Or they sell out the park. They spend money to go there. They spend money to sit there. They spend money to sit in the bad weather because these assholes didn't put a dome over their park. Okay? So they're going. So you got to respect them. So, and every Major League team and Major League Baseball should respect every fan that spends money, spends time talking about them. Okay? no matter how deranged some of them come across and how serious they come across about it. Show them respect. Simple as that, you know. We talk about the sort of social media, but when it comes right down to it, they are spending time writing about it online. So keep that in mind. But the Braves continue to lose. We're going to continue to watch it and laugh about it because they deserve it. Up until 30-something years ago, they were a failed franchise. They were a nomadic team, couldn't stay in one place. Even when they were in Milwaukee, they had one of the greatest players in the history of the game, they let them walk, including the rest of the team. So this is not a franchise. I wonder when they're going to move. Who knows? Who knows? Well, you let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to Baseball Head 2, and I'll see you later.